All right. Well, right before we started rolling there, we were chatting about theme parks. We're talking about Universal because Greg was there last year, right? That was last year you were there.
September, nearly a year.
Is that nearly a year? Wow. Well, I don't know if you've seen or saw, whatever the correct grammar is, but they're opening that new park in 2025, Universal Epic Universe. OMG.
Oh, yes, they
What is
are.
that?
Greg, please tell us about
So-
it. I have a feeling you've done some research on this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're even watching like little blogs of seeing it getting made.
I was watching some
blogs,
yesterday on
listen to
YouTube.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Epic Universe is Universal's new like huge theme park. I think it comprises like 5 separate
yeah.
lands. So you've got a whole land dedicated to How to Train Your Dragon called Isle of Berk. There is the Monster Universe. I think it's called something like Dark Wood or Dark Dark Universe. That's kind of like your classic Frankenstein, the Wolfman. You have a whole new Harry Potter area dedicated to the Ministry of Magic and the France area used in Fantastic Beasts. You have a Mario Land, which is
Super
very
Mario
exciting.
Brothers. Oh, that looks so
That's
good.
cool. I would love to go
Super
to
Mario
Japan
Land.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And then I think it's called
it's like
Celestial Park. Is the
Celestial,
new
yeah,
big
yeah.
central one. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's 5. Yeah, because there's a center and then 4 ones on the side. It looks so good.
That's cool.
And like when we were there in September, they'd like started to put these big new like walls up around kind of like the ET ride area, saying like this is going to be part of Epic Universe. So we're like, ooh.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see it getting done then. So the fact that it's going to be ready next year is insane. Like they've got to make that pretty damn quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it looks great as well. And just watching, it was like an announcement video on YouTube on like the official Universal Orlando YouTube channel that we were watching yesterday. And just like they're showing clips of like representing the history of Universal or whatever. And they're showing like clips of the Jaws ride and the ET ride and stuff. And it reminded me of those old menu like videos that you would get on DVDs and Blu-rays that you don't get anymore because everyone just watches stuff on streaming. But part of the whole thing when you would put the DVD in, you would get like the coming soon to parent, whatever it is.
Totally.
And,
You can
it
skip
totally
it if you
reminded
want.
me of that. Yeah. So it looks great.
Yeah,
I forgot about those.
it does. It looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think it's probably about time. Like, I think the last time I went to Universal, there was a few streets you walk down and it's just kind of like, you just kind of keep going. It's sort of a dusty, and you kind of look at some of the buildings and you go, those are empty. Like,
Don't go near
and
those
it's all things that were used at one point where they've just kind of gone, all right, okay. Like the Jaws ride. Like I remember looking over because this was in California, did the Jaws ride. And it was literally just like a train track thing that kind of went into the water and then a Jaws thing came out at you. But it was part of a tour thing where you got to see part of where Jaws was filmed, like the big sort of lake with it's just basically a giant sky painted wall and a pond in front of it. And that's where they do a lot of filming, or they had it at one point. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to see as much of that last time I was there. It's like,
I mean, I was there in 2008, so I definitely did the Jaws ride then.
God.
But then by the time I went back 10 years later, which was the last time I was there, was 2018, and it was gone. So I was glad I did it back then. And
Same.
but I was scared at the time. Whereas in 2018, I would have like absolutely, because I'm like such a big Jaws fan, I would have just loved it now. But I was terrified in 2008.
Yeah.
fair.
So yeah, no, that sounds really good. And I mean, as you say, Greg, it's very expensive to get there. But if you're doing that full experience, what an experience that's going to be, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like now knowing that you can go and say like if you did 2 weeks where you got Disney Universal and you had all of the Disney parks, and then you've now got, because Universal is technically 2 parks that are like combined, if that makes sense. You've got Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, and you can get the Hogwarts Express to hop over to each one, or you can just walk. But I think they're going to work out a way for you to get from one of the parks to Epic Universe, and a theory is that it's going to be the lifts in the Ministry. So it's either going to be the lifts in the Ministry, or it's going to be, where they use like those like chimneys and it's the green flames. Do they use flue powder for that?
Yeah, flue powder. Yeah.
The theory is that it's going to be one of those 2 that like gets you from one of the other parks to Epic Universe. But it looks so good.
Sounds really cool. Did you go on the Hulk ride?
Oh yeah, 4 times.
I took my mom on the Hulk ride. I didn't tell her. Like, I was surprised she went. I was like, she was looking up at it. I'd been on it. I was like, that was awesome. Like, that was genuinely really good. And I was like, do you want to go? She's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, really? Okay. My mom has incredibly curly hair. And like the whole ride, you go up about halfway and then it just goes, oh, and launches you. My mom was just screaming. We get to the end and her hair is like straight. Like she gets out, she's like, why didn't you tell me it was going to do that? And I was like, because I knew you wouldn't have gone.
It's like a skit from something. Why did you tell me?
Like, sorry.
Well, that was like a similar thing with Luce. So my wife Luce, my favorite human being on the planet, and I don't want to subject her to a theme park I'm not going to enjoy. So I was like, I will do the Hulk because I know you're really nervous. I'll go do it. And there's like no cues for the Hulk. It's just you just walk straight on.
Right.
I'm like, this is great. And so literally, like I was on it, and I was like, oh my god, that's exhilarating. I'm like, it's not as you think it's going to be, Luce. And she sits down the harness and the harness feels quite loose.
Oh no.
Like, oh no. So yeah, I think she was like, never again.
Never again. All right, okay, fair
That's
enough.
fair.
But Velocicoaster and Hagrid's motorbike ride were just sensational.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
we've been saying all along that like Disney's a more magic feeling when you're in the parks, but the thrill rides are better at Universal.
Agreed.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Is it Rock and Roller Coaster as well?
Oh,
The best one.
yes.
That's my favorite one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because you're just going up, and I was listening. What'd you put on the track? What'd you guys listen to?
I
Limp
put a
Bizkit.
Waterloo by ABBA.
You know what? I could totally see how that would work.
The one.
I could see that being pretty hype. But yeah, I also went with Limp Bizkit.
I was literally like, see, it's that bit where you're just going straight up vertically. It was all I could do is, and I was like, oh no, what have I done?
That's great.
I put on one of the most joyous songs ever, and I'm going to be absolutely terrified out of my mind. And it's just literally, I think it was that they've got it timed perfectly, and it was as you go down, you just hear my. I was like, oh no. It was terrifying.
Like, Limp Bizkit, it's literally you get to the top and it goes, put your hands up, hands up, no, hands up. So I was like, the idea of doing that with Waterloo, that's amazing.
Greg, I love it. One of the most joyous songs ever.
Yeah, and it was. I just had a midlife crisis halfway through the ride. I was like, oh my god, this is what it must feel like. This is how I'm gonna die, with ABBA blasting through my ears.
ABBA.
This is the final thing that I'll hear when I die. Waterloo.
Why not? There's definitely worse things to hear at the
I was
end.
going to say.
Is that ABBA?
But I
don't mind.
yeah, because it comes with that little list, and you're like, right, what's good? I'll go pop.
It's so much pressure though, because you've only got a couple of seconds to decide which one. You know what I mean?
Well, when I was getting on the ride, you know how there's like because there is a height limit,
right?
Yeah.
And I literally was walking under it and kind of shrunk my neck a little bit.
Yeah.
And just like barely skimmed the top of my head, and people clapped.
Brilliant.
People in the queue were like, golf clap. I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
You have outsmarted the system. That is
You know
very
what I mean?
Amazing. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, next time I go, I'll have to pick whatever ABBA song is on Dancing
by the way.
Queen
Just
or
Do it,
SOS
just
or
do
something.
it. It was an experience. Let's put it that way. Because I went on it on my own. Luce didn't want to go on it, so I was like, just listen. You go on a theme park ride, and you get to listen to ABBA. This is great.
Right.
That's both worlds.
Oh, listen. Oh, well, Best of Both Worlds from Hannah Montana. That would be a good one. But